or everyone or whatever. Why is my upload immediately super bad? That's horrible. Wow, and I'm dropping 70% of frames? What is going on here? What? Okay, we'll see if this improves. Please let me know in the chat if this is actually working, because that looks pretty scary. So anyway, the plan today is that we're going to build a Next.js app. I've never tried Next.js before, so I'm trying it out today. We're gonna follow the whatever the initial setup instructions are, and then try to build a little, like a simple CMS sort of thing that's gonna help me create articles and blog posts in the future. And I'm going to be using it primarily because I keep forgetting to update my descriptions, titles, and stuff like that. So it's going to be a simple app based on copy pasta that is going to take some inputs, spit them out in an output, and then I'm going to use copy pasta to actually use it as a CMS. But the plan today is to just try out Next.js and see how it works. Hey, Josh Menders. And yeah. Let's see, we're gonna scroll down here where it says not view showcase, but get started. Let's start at this. I don't feel like going through the entire tutorial. Is there a quick getting started kind of thing? There we go. So we have npx create next app, and we can use that. I'm gonna go cd documents random coding, and we're gonna say npx create next app. We're going to call it Swiss CMS because that's what it's going to be doing. And it's basically going to, in the future, or I'm going to try to use it to replace this page with something that's a little bit better. So we're installing a Next.js app right now, starting it from scratch, and we'll see what we get from the basic setup with the thing. Okay, allow internet access. Cool. And we've got Swiss CMS. I can now open this in VS Code. Go into random coding, Swiss CMS. And let's see what we got. So it looks like it's set up node modules, obviously pages. These are probably going to be, and I know that Next.js uses what's called file-based routing in pages / into a JS file in pages. It just shows up and everything works, which I think is pretty cool. Then we have public for, I guess, files, and styles for CSS. Alrighty then. So package.json is pretty empty. That's cool. So let's go. Let's call git init on this. So to create a new repository, git status, you say git add .msm initial Next.js setup. All right, now let's do yarn start, and we'll see what we get when this cannot find a valid build in the next directory. Try building your app with next build before starting the server. Okay, so it looks like starts the development server. So we need to do yarn dev to actually, yeah, Josh, good point. We want yarn dev. So if we go to localhost 3000, we should now get a basic Next.js app. That feels weird. Why is Next.js sending telemetry back to, why is it calling home? I'm not sure how I feel about that, but let's allow it today. That feels weird. Why is it? Ooh, very nice. So the basic page looks pretty cool. We get documentation, in-depth information about features and API, how to deploy. I'm assuming we can do that with Vercel. I can disable calling home in next.config.js. Is there a next.config.js? No, there is not. So I'm gonna deal with that later. And we have boilerplate projects. Cool. Documentation, we can go Next.js. All right. So I'm gonna go and open the index.js for a page. This looks cool. I guess this does look cool. So this is the basic page setup. We got next head. That's interesting. So I guess that's something similar as lets us set up. Yeah, I am actually. So you guys are on my iPad, and I put you next to the camera so that it looks like I'm looking at the chat. Little tricks. Okay, so I guess head is zoomed in enough. That's way too much. So I guess head is something like similar to React Helmet that puts things in the header. So if we change this and say Swiss CMS, that should update up here. It does. Perfect. So that's defining the head element of our HTML output. Then we have main with some styles for main. I guess Next.js is happily promoting that we use, what's this called? It's telling us to use CSS modules. I'm not a fan of those, so I'm gonna try to switch to Theme UI, because Theme UI is something I'm used to, but then I don't know how to wrap everything into the wrapper. There we go. So my app, I'm assuming this lets me wrap. What did I do? I clicked Command H. I hate it when that happens, because then it hides all my windows. I need Visual Code, I need Terminal, and I need my chat room. Right. So I'm assuming this lets us wrap the root of the component tree. So how can I test that this is letting us wrap the root? I know. We're going to console log something here. Console log is this root, and then I'm going to create a new page. So there we go. It said, is this root? And I'm going to create a new page. Let's see, will it pick up if I just copy paste index.js? So I'm gonna say copy pages index.js / hello.js, and I'm gonna open hello.js, and here I'm going to keep the head, but instead of the main doing this, it's going to say hello world, and I'm tough because we don't need it, although it is nice that we get support for the footer right away. What happens next? We need to end main. So now I should be able to go to /hello and get something that says hello world, and we have the wrapper. Perfect. So that's nice. And actually, you know what? I kind of like the default verse that Vercel gave us. So let's just. So what do we need next? If I want to, I said I wanted to make a simple CMS, right? So we're gonna go back to index.js, and I like that pages hello was immediately picked up. That was cool. So here I'm going to say Swiss CMS, where Swiss CMS is where articles are born. That's a long title, and we're going to change this and say, what should we say in the description? The description should be, use this to set up your copy pasta for a new article. Okay, great. And now I don't really need the grid. Do I need the grid? The grid is kind of nice. Let's see. We're going to try to basically build something similar to this. So I'm going to need a form. I'm going to need that form to output something, and then I will need a way to basically it's going to, and that front matter will be yeah. I'm kind of not finishing my thoughts because I don't know yet what I'm doing. So everything from here on kind of looks pretty standard. So I guess Next.js is in fact pretty easy to use. Let's try creating a little form. Swiss CMS is where articles are born. Use this to deploy your to do a copy pasta. So we take our cards, or actually let's just delete this stuff. styles grid, and let's do. What else do we get in our default module CSS? There isn't that much here. We have cards, we have the logo, and that's about it. Alright, now let's keep going. So I'm going to start here by creating a front matter thingy. So we're going to render a front matter form. The front matter form is going to be something that takes title, description. What else do I need? Let's look. So I need a title, I need a description. I'm going to need a publish date. I don't need a redirect. I am going to need categories, and I need to create a social card. Cool. So here we go. I'm going to say front matter form here, and we're going to change. Ooh, very nice. So this error looks really cool. I like the way the errors look. That looks, honestly, that looks way friendlier than Gatsby's errors usually do. So let's create a new file, ls. What should we do? Should we make a components one? Yeah, let's make dir components and do touch components front matter form.js. This is going to be the form, and I'm going to use React hook form because I'm a lazy bastard and React hook form works really well. So we say yarn add React hook form. This is going to give me a lot of machinery by default on how to wire up a form and make it work without using controlled inputs, which gives you better performance and is just something I usually enjoy. Okay, so components, we say import front matter form from // components front matter form. Now we gotta go make it. Element type is undefined. Yes, of course it's undefined because we have, so front matter form is going to say export const front matter form equals a component that does not get anything, and this component is going to do what? It's going to return a form. So we say form, and this is going to have some inputs, and then we say import. I forgot how React hook form works, so I'm going to look it up in the docs. Sense in I just don't like memorizing shit, so I always like to look at documentation. Get started. React with form on submit is blah. There we go. That's what we need. So we import React from React, and we say import use form from React hook form. Got that. And then here we say const register and handle submit equals use form, and this is going to say const on submit equals data, and we're going to console log the data that we got, and then we're going to wire up a couple of inputs. So these inputs to start with are going to be input. We need also on submit equals handle submit on submit. That seems weird, but sure. So we say input name is going to be, let's give it a label. So we say your title. Oh, thank you, Federico. While I'm working on stuff for a while now. So we say input name is title, it's type text, so we don't really need anything. And we say ref is, ref register basically means that we are registering this input with React hook form machinery so that we'll have states and stuff. So we said we need the title, then we said we needed a description, label description, input. A description should be a text area. So we say text area, name equals description, ref equals register, And what do we need here? The text area should be, let's give it rows 5 and calls 50. I think it's called, is it calls? Yes, it's calls. And then we need, I said we need a categories and a hero. Categories are going to, because let's not do categories right now, because categories I want to in the future make something that's like a drop-down selector so that you can put them on as tags or something like that, but I haven't yet decided how my stuff is actually going to work. And we add a submit type, and let's see what happens. So we should now have a very ugly looking form. Great. So now that we have an ugly looking form, I am actually going to start using Team UI, because I know that Team UI comes with a bunch of really nice styling and basic things that are already set up for us. So let's go. Yarn add Team UI. Yarn add Team UI. Come on, computer. Okay. That's installed Team UI. Now I gotta go remember how Team UI works, because again, I forgot how to set it up from scratch, because I always forget these things. I'm having a lot of fun with with Next so far. It's actually a lot easier at the beginning than I thought it was. Documentation, we install Team UI and then we wrap shit in the team provider. So we go into our app.js, and we say import team provider from team UI, and we're not going to install the global CSS, but team UI is going to have this stuff, and then our component is going, we're gonna need the theme. We are gonna get the theme from somewhere, so import theme from theme needs to be in /style/theme. So we import that, and then here we say theme provider theme equals theme, and we render our component with all of the page props. That's a Next.js thing, but we now wrapped everything in the theme provider. Now we gotta tell the theme provider how to do themes. So theming, let's find color mode docs. I know it comes with themes, base preset. I know there are other presets, packages, presets. Let's see, presets. There we go. So those are our presets. We can go to the demo page to find good yarn add at theme UI presets while we're looking. So while we're looking for this is the base preset, the dark preset, that looks pretty cool, the deep preset, the funk preset, future with no, roboto, Bulma, tailwind. Do we want this to look like tailwind? No, I don't like tailwind that much. Sketchy. Ooh, sketchy looks cool, but no. That is too, let's go with deep. I like this one. There's a lot of pink, a lot of soft colors. Or theme or dark? Dark seems like it has better contrasts. What do you guys think? Do we go with deep or do we go with dark? You know what? I'm gonna choose dark because, no, I'm gonna choose deep because I like the subtlety of it. So we go with deep to my theme. So we create a new file. This file is going to, let's see, theme UI presets. There we go. We say import deep from at theme UI presets, and we say export default. We are going to take deep, all of it, and we put this in styles theme.js. And we should now get everything magically should be styled as if it came from Team UI. Yes, Somesh, I'm glad you agree with the deep choice. Which also means we don't need to get this. So we remove this class name and we remove this class name and we remove, and we're gonna play with these things in footer. We don't need a footer, footers are silly. Okay, now let's see what happens. The page compiled. I'm really liking that I haven't yet had to restart the Next.js development server. Unhandled error, styles.description, yes, remove that stuff, bam. So we now have, we're now using deep. That's pretty cool. What does this link do? Pre-rendered page, that's cool. Okay, static optimization indicator, very nice. So we now have this. We're going to, now let's use the actual, does this need to be a div? Let's render back just a fragment because I don't think we need that thing. And what happens if we change this to be a box? Yes. So we got box imported from TeamUI, box, and we can say that we are rendering it as main. So that still works. But now that we have a TeamUI box, we can style this to float in the middle. So we're gonna say width is going to be, or should we make this a grid? Let's see. Let's just make it float in the middle. So we're gonna say margins 0 auto. This is not gonna change it because it still needs a width, and our width is going to be, let's look at the definitions here. So we have the type scale. What is our sizing scale? That's not design system tokens, the team specification. There we go. This is the raw JSON. So if we look here at the sizing of TeamUI, or of the deep one, styles container. Ooh, we can call this a container. I did not know that exists. That's a new one. So how do we use a container? Does it export container? Yes. So instead we can render a container here. I don't know why this didn't autocomplete for me, but we can take out the width and we should now get, this should now show up somewhere in the middle. No? Container, why is container not containering for me? Body div, root div class. So this div, max width is the container. That seems weird. So this usually works. I'm not sure what the problem is here. Max width 1024, h5, h6, pre, blah, prism. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with the sizing here, but we can fix that. So we can say, or let's just do max width 1024 here and see if that puts it in the middle. Okay, so we've got that in the middle, and we're gonna deal with it later with the actual design system. Next thing I'm going to need is to add TeamUI forms, yarn add at teamui/forms, right? I think that's a file that exists. No, that's not a thing anymore. Okay, where does TeamUI keep its form stuff? So we go in components and we can look here. Is container a thing? It does. Centered container p4 okay, so that should just work. Ah, crap. Okay. I should not need to do any of this, so I'm not sure why. Okay, sorry, I'm kind of jumping around because I'm really confused why this isn't working. I should be able to just say container and then go into my theme.js styles, and let's define sizes are going to come from deep.sizes, and we're going to add container as 1024. And will that work? Okay, that worked. So we now have a centered container for all of our stuff. Next part is here when I'm going to look at forms. There should be a form thing. Forms, there we go. It's okay. So that's still, everything is in Theme UI. We don't need to import anything different. So I'm going to go here. And I'm going to change this to say, let's see. This is going to be label, auto imported from Theme UI, label, that, and then the input is going to be an input, also auto imported from Theme UI, and text area is, why did text area not auto import? Text area, come on, auto import, and I shouldn't need rows and columns anymore, ref register, and button instead. We're gonna auto import that from Theme UI, and now we should get a nicely looking form. Perfect. So this button is going to say submit. So we now have that, and let's give it variant equals secondary. So we're gonna change the color. Variant should change its color. Primary, will that change its color? Okay, I guess the deep theme does not have different colors for different buttons, or for different variants of buttons. Okay, so we've got this now. We have somewhere to type the title of our article, and we have somewhere to type the description. All of that looks great. Now when we submit this, we're going to get a console log of our data. So that's good. And I'm not doing any validations or anything like that right now, because this is supposed to be a pretty simple tool for now. Okay, we've got that. Now when we submit, what I'm gonna do here, next thing I'm gonna do is render a social card, because I have a function created that gives me social cards. Or actually, you know what? Let's do the actual front matter copy pasta first. We've got that. So front matter form submits, and when we submit that, it should return data to where? So we have the front matter form here. Let's here render the actual front matter. So we're going to have a code. No. Is there a Theme UI thing for code previews? Code? Okay, guess not. So we're just gonna use a regular old pre here. Actually, no. We're just gonna say this is front matter. So we're gonna take front matter. This is going to be another component. It's going to actually render the front matter of a what's it called? So this is going to render the front matter. We don't need this box anymore. So the front matter is going to get data from the front matter form, which means here we need something that's going to keep the state of that. So the idea is that we have the front matter form, which you click submit, calls a callback. That callback then updates state of the overall page component, and then propagates it back down to the. So we say const. Let's see, is anyone even actually watching? I'm really curious. Dashboard. Anyone there? Because the chat room is showing me is saying that nobody is watching. Okay, interesting. So the chat room doesn't update correctly. That's cool. So we've got the form. We're going to say const, and we're not gonna. This would be a great candidate for X state, but we're not gonna use it just yet. So we'll say front matter, and set front matter is going to be use state. That's going to be an empty object, and I would define what that object needs to look like. So the front matter form is going to on submit say that we're calling set front matter with whatever on submit, whatever we return from the form, and then we pass that front matter into the front matter component. And please let me know in the chat room if this is confusing and you're not following. So use state is not defined. That's great. Why didn't it get imported? Got imported now. Also, I just noticed something really cool. We aren't actually importing React from for Next, which is really interesting. I wonder how they solved that you don't have to import React to have JSX support in your file. That's cool. I wonder if it works if we don't. What happens if we don't import it here either? Okay, let's try that. Will that work? Whoa. Okay, that's cool. That looks like a special Next.js feature where you don't actually have to import React. That's awesome. All right, and we got that in Next.js. Now let's do the front matter, and I'm going to create a new file. And this file is going to say export const front matter equals a component that gets a title and a description for now. And it's going to return some stuff. We save this in components. We say front matter.js. So export const blah. So this is going to return a pre element, and that pre element is going to look like this. I'm going to take this stuff, I'm going to render it here, and we're going to say the title is going to be title. And I have no idea if this is actually going to work, by the way. See, Prettier is complaining because we have to do it this way. So this is one of the slightly annoying things when you're dealing with trying to put code in a React application, is that you have to put it in as a string. So we have that, then we have the description, and we don't need this other stuff yet, but we do need those. So we have the title and we have the description, and then we're going to use what is this complaining about? Oh, wrong backtick. So this is going to show us the current date. So we're gonna say date, and I'm going to add date functions because I don't want to deal with building the date myself. So we say yarn add date funs. Come on, date functions. Const date is going to be date. Come on. Okay. So we import format from date fnus. Yeah, date funds. We import date format. We say format new date, and we're going to say that this is year minus minus dd. And that should work. What is this complaining about? Export const front matter. Okay, that should be working. I'm going to reload this page. I need to actually import front matter. Let's see if it's gonna import on its own. Front matter. Nope, it's not smart enough to import it on its own. So we say import front matter from /components front matter. I feel like my VS Code has gotten kind of confused and has stopped giving me suggestions. Cool. See, now we have title undefined, description undefined, and published on today's date, which is great. And if I need to wire it up, so we need to wire this up, and we don't want to render the front matter if this is undefined. So we say if front matter exists, then we render the front matter, otherwise we don't show anything there. Go into front matter.js, now front matter form, and when we are submitting, we said we are, let's call it on submit. So on submit is going to be called with data. We don't need this here now. So now I'm going to say this is the best article in the world. This is just a tribute. And when I click submit, we get this showing up here. Yes. Okay. So we've got an easy way for me to, or for anyone really, to generate front matters for their articles. That's cool. So the next thing we need to do, let's do git status. We could git add dot git commit -a-m. We say what? We say that we got a front matter generator. Basic form that generates front matter. No Siri, I'm not talking to you. So committed that. It would be cool if it, so I'm gonna do something that looks weird. Problem. This is because pre-tags format in color equals primary. Is that for my button, John? Let's try that. Color equals primary? No. Oh, I think it's BG equals primary. And we say BG equals secondary to change the color. Ha! You were right. Thanks, John. So we changed the background color to be a different shade of pink, which appeals to me. We've got this. Now the next thing we need is the social cards, because I like to, they're kind of annoying to create right now. I like to download them manually. Yeah, so let's see what we can do about that. We've got this stuff. So here we're gonna say if the front matter exists, actually let's put it above that here. So we're gonna say if the front matter exists, then we're going to render the, what's it called? Social card. So social card image is going to take, we're gonna put in the entire front matter, and this is gonna be something I have. You know how in cooking shows they say, we're gonna use something that I prepared earlier? We're now gonna use something that I prepared earlier. So we say import social card image from /components social card image. And I know that we're not really using a lot of Next.js, JS specific functionality, but you know, I don't know yet what's possible. So for the social card image, we're going to say export const social card image equals a component that gets a title, and it's going to return an image. Here we say we don't need a page for that. Styles, public, we said we put it in components. Social card image.js. Cool, we've got that. Now this is going to have to use an effect because it's going to be fetching from, it's going to make a fetch from, oh, I wonder if we should use React Query for this, because React Query would make this, would simplify our life here a lot. Let's do it. Let's use React Query. Now we say yarn add React Query. And for those of you who don't know about React Query yet, it's a really cool toolkit for basically making it easy to efficiently run your fetch, your APIs and calling stuff over the network. I explained that poorly, but that's because I have not written an article about it yet. I'm planning to. So we say const card query equals use query, and we say that this is a social particular title, and social card is going to be the function that we use, and then we're going to return an image that is, oh, actually no, and we're going to say if card query dot is loading, so if cart query is loading, we're gonna show a spinner. So we say return, I think there's a spinner in Team UI. Spinner, yes, of course there's a spinner in Team UI. So we return a spinner. And see, this is why I like using open source and other projects so much, because I don't have to build half of this shit. It just works. So if cart query is loading, we do that, and we're going to say function is going to be a function that gets, let me look it up on React query. What are the arguments he passes in? So if we go into docs, quick start, yes, mailing list, get to do's, come on, installation, comparison, important defaults, queries, there we go. To-dos, fetch to-do list, just show me what you send. Query keys, string, array keys, yes. Query key variables, aha. Fetch to do gets key status page, there we go. So we're gonna get the key and we're gonna get the title, and I'm going to then, we're gonna say this is an async function, and we will say this function is going to say const res equals await fetch of this this thing. So this is my URL for creating cards. We're going to put the title here, and this is going to generate my card for it. So we get res and we return res.json, and then if we get that, if cart query is no longer loading, it means we don't have to show a spinner. So instead we're going to return an image which comes from Team UI, and the source of that image is going to be cart query dot data dot we said URL. And that should now, in theory, just work. Let's give it a shot. We reload the page and we say, what did we use before? We said this, the best article in the world. Oh, why did it go blue? That's weird. We say this is just a tribute, and now when I click submit, everything dies. Nice. Because spinner did not get auto-imported from Team UI. That's silly. So let's try again. No? What about now? Okay. The best article in the world. This is just a tribute. We click submit. We get a spinner. Yeah, there. Yes. Okay, so that worked. We now have a way of both generating the front matter for my articles or for your articles, and it creates the social card that I like, the default social card that I like to use. So this is obviously not going to be very useful to others, but you know, it's a start. Great. Now let's put all of this in a new box here. So we're going to say box, bam, it got auto imported from Team UI, and we're going to say that this has a P of 4. That's going to give us some padding, make it look nicer. Like that. Okay. And I need to do some, the reason that's loading so slowly is because it's a high-res 3 megabyte image of this, and I will obviously need to, that's something I need to change on the AWS Lambda that's running that to make that better. And another thing we can do is actually render the React query DevTools so that I can show you what the background is doing. So we say React query DevTools, like that. Come on, auto import. Why doesn't auto import work on this part? That's weird. Import. Okay, let's copy pasta this because I don't feel like typing all of that. Cool. Okay, we have 7 more minutes because I'm trying to keep these live codings to 1 hour. So we have 7 more minutes. Cool. There's some people watching. That's nice. So we've got that. The part we didn't get. Whoa. Oh, that's cool. From React Query DevTools, I need to install that. Yarn add. So this is a really cool error page, and it's making me like it's really making me like Next.js because this shit is cool. That is very nice. So React Query DevTools, will Next.js be able to pick that up? Can't resolve. No, I'm gonna need to reload the page. Still not happy. I think we may have found the first case where I need to start the Next.js dev server. Hey Militant Penguin, how are you doing today? Okay, we're restarting the dev server for the first time. And let's see. Will that still run? Started server. Does it compile now? It should, because I installed React Query DevTools. Okay, compiled successfully. Does it load? Build page, error. Okay, there we go. We now have everything, I think. Do we? It's starting to struggle. Content length mismatch, that's weird. Reload the page. Oh, there we go. So we now have the DevTools, so I can show you what's actually happening behind the scenes. Say the best article in the world, blah blah blah, submit. So you see it's making a request to my Lambda and gets back the same thing. So now when I click submit, I think React Query will be smart enough not to re-request the Lambda. Yep, because nothing changed, I think. No, it's refetching. It's not that smart. Okay, so that's something we can configure configuration. But this is a good first start, I think. Let's try deploying this just to see it live in action, and then we can continue on Tuesday with making it better. Cool. So we say git status, git add dot, git commit -a -m. We say this is a basic front matter generator. Basic front matter generator. Great. Got that. So now what I can do is run now, which now is the same as the Vercel. Let's try running Vercel. I do not have that installed, but I have now installed. So I'm going to try to deploy this on as Swiss CMS on my Swizzet user. I do not have an existing project. I'm okay with using Swiss CMS as the name is in /. Uploaded, want to override the settings. No, don't really care about the settings. Let's see. So this should now get uploaded to Vercel and hosted, and it should mostly useful app that anyone can use. Let's see. This is pretty cool so far. I'm liking it. Not sure yet what this does. I guess that means that the page is pre-rendered, so it's going to be fast to load when it's live. And we did a lot today. We created a new project. We set up a design system so that things are easy to style and make responsive. We added a generator for the social card previews, and it's creating a basic front matter for us so that we don't forget to do it manually. And if I go to swisscms.vercel app, and we're using React Query for all the for pretty much everything. So this is just a tribute. The best article is from Tenacious D. Click submit, and this should just work. Let's see if it does. Yes. Okay, so that's all I had for today. We did exactly 59 minutes, perfect. So I'm gonna post this maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. If you're subscribed to my emails, you'll get it. If you're not, you should probably go subscribe. And we're gonna continue on Tuesday making this even better and trying to explore more of Next.js's actual features. So thanks everyone for watching. I now have to go do some other work as well. This was fun. I'm really liking Next.js.